Trans Mountain Road to get to a really neat car show on the other side of town. I'm taking you all along today, as well as a video camera and the mighty 41 International. We're going to go check out all the hot rods and hope we have a good time. Stay tuned. We'll be there shortly. Well, we're here, and I'm parked right next to a white 32 Roadster that was built by a friend of mine, which is absolutely flawless. Check out this engine, very unusual. All the colors, the visible rocker arms through the transparent valve covers. Look at those headers. This thing is a real gem. Let me give you a front view here. Just a spectacular car. He drives the thing 80 miles an hour on the freeway. I know because I've tried to keep up with him a few times. How about this? A gorgeous 1953 Chevy truck. Just spectacular. It's not cheap to do this. I know, I tried it. Look at the bed. Really pretty. Somebody knocked themselves out on this. And excellent body work, just straight as an arrow. Beautiful car. God help us. Look what's pulling in. Looks like we're at the Bakersfield Drags back in the 60s. Once he parks, I'll get a better look at it. How about this for a 210 57 Chevy? Two-door post. Nothing pretentious. Beautiful wheels, straight as an arrow. Probably runs like mad too. Great car. Let's take a look at this beast. Another 32 Roadster. Nice healthy rear tires, beautiful wheels. Check out the interior in this gem. Absolutely gorgeous. We'll have to guess at the engine, but I have a feeling it's up to the standards of the car. Not that for a beautiful job. I like the flames too. It reminds me of the 36 Chevy. Here we go with a nice 40 Ford in primer. Once again, straight as an arrow. A little modification on the running board. Kind of hard to get a good look in here. We'll do our best. Looks nice.
That's where a bunch of these guys were, iron and stuff. They were over here.
Judging from the diameter of the pipes, this thing probably hauls ass. Okay. Very snazzy. Kind of in the current style where you use primer and sort of leave the outside as is. Straight but nice. And worry about making them run like mad. Look at this thing. I mean, it would be welcome in probably any car show in the country. Beautiful work. Look at the paint job on this thing. Absolutely spectacular. Nice choice of wheels. Very, very, very tastefully done. Looks like a 33 or 4 Ford. Absolutely beautiful. What a gem, huh? How about this for the old school T-bucket? The brass radiator shell. That looks like a Ford engine. Distributor in the front. Bus steering. Kind of modest rear tires. Look at that. I had one of these years ago, and I want to tell you that up at about 70 miles an hour, things get real exciting. And it's the kind of excitement I could probably do without. Anyway, pretty snazzy. If you like your cars low, I guess this is the one you'd pick. Can't get much lower than that. Obviously an airbag suspension, and it's deflated right now, just like my ego when I look at some of these beautiful cars. Really neat. The shallow bed, now that was necessary because the suspension has to be able to rise up so high that you've got to elevate the bed to cover the rear differential when it's the car's in a down mode like this. A couple things about this that are kind of neat. It's a 460 Ford engine, which no doubt hauls more ass than it has a right to. And
look at this. This is, if people like patina, apparently while he was sanding this down, he thought, man, that looks kind of snazzy. It's almost like a marble or agate or something. So he clear coated it. Very unusual. Okay, this thing's incredible. We'll start here with the differential. It's the old Hallebrand style quick change rear end, which costs a fortune, probably more than some of the cars that are here. And then it's a track T Roadster, okay? And it is absolutely beautifully done. Just gorgeous. Obviously a fiberglass body. And look at the engine. Talk about understated beauty. You know, not a whole lot of chrome and billet stuff tacked on, just high quality materials and parts. Obviously, this guy knows his stuff. Look at that, the full-size moons like you see at the Bonneville racetrack, or Salt Flats. I like this. Okay, here's one of my all-time favorites. Look at this thing. 5-window coupe. Huge rear tires, and you're going to see why in just a minute. Look at the body on this thing. I'm going to tease you a little first. We're going to look inside. Absolutely gorgeous interior. This is where a lot of people come up short. But look at this thing.
No, you can put it.
Not the Crate 350. This is a 409, the 2.4s, the old 409, 425 mystery engine back from the early 60s. Gorgeous wheels. As nice as it gets. Once again, a car I think that would be welcome in any car show in the country. Beautifully done from one end to the other. And here we've got kind of the old school type 5-window coupe. Little bit of rust showing down there. And appears to be a, I don't know, it's a 327 or 350. I can't see the harmonic balancer from here, but whichever it is, it's nicely done. The old baby moons on the steel wheels. This is the kind of car you could build and have fun with and not have to worry a whole lot about every minute. It'd still be a lot of fun to drive. Okay, I've got to show you this. It belongs to a good friend of mine. It's got the surfboards up on top and the old-fashioned type of camper. But look at the woodwork he did in here. It's all in natural wood. And he's got kind of like a day and night motif. Look at those support ribs up in the top. Looks like a Dr. Seuss construction. Very, just beautifully done. You'll see this truck looks really plain. Look down the side of it here. It's still got rust and some patch panels added in and stuff like that. I've ridden many a mile on this seat. But he's got his hood down, which is a shame. I'll get him to open it a little later. But it's a 350 with 2 4s, and it does get down the road. And he and I both are fans of those 5-spoke American mags. You saw them on my little Model A pickup. Put a board on the front. In the old days at the drag strip, there'd always had to be somebody around with something like this with a board on the front to start the dragsters and the cars that had no starters. So he, with nostalgia in mind, put that on the front of this. How about this for an old school gem? Looks like a 30 Model A coupe, fenderless, like a highboy style, with old-fashioned, sort of narrow, biased wide tires, and dark green and light green contrast with the old-fashioned baby moons and beauty rings. He's even got the rumble seat here. And what's kind of neat about this one is he has a Model A engine inside, but it's got every type of speed accessory, and I wish the hood was open, but he's got the overhead valve head on it and all sorts of really neat early speed equipment. So even though this is a stock 4-cylinder, relatively stock, this thing can keep up with traffic just fine, and he didn't have to install a modern V8 in it. Well, if you like your 57 Chevys red, I guess this is the one for you. Look it down the side, straight as an arrow. Gorgeous wheels. Very tastefully done. Absolutely perfect body from what I can see. And it's a 4-speed as God intended. Beautiful stock interior. What a gem. Kind of a resto rod where it looks just like it did from the factory other than the wheels. And yet, I'll guarantee you that this thing doesn't run like it did from the factory. I'm not sure why everybody has their hoods closed today, but if they open them up later, I'll go around and get some shots inside the engine compartments. This is another car that was built by a friend of mine. It's one of his first cars, and he does some of the most magnificent work you'll ever see in suspension and fabrication and all. He's just a genius. But he sold this, and it's still been in town and shows up at the shows, and it's still in magnificent condition. Beautiful 40 Ford. Good healthy tires and wheels. Look at this thing. Just straight as an arrow. Hard to see for all the reflections, but absolutely beautiful interior. And trust me, it runs just a little bit better than it looks. This thing just flies. Beautiful car. Here we have a nice 56 Chevy 2-door hardtop and the traditional turquoise and white. And also the traditional hood open and the guy trying to fix the engine, which I spent many a pleasant hour doing myself at about 2 in the morning out in the city streets. But real nice, another resto mod in which it looks on the outside stock except for the wheels. And that's a nice healthy engine with air conditioning, which is a nice touch. This is an interesting car. It's one I actually thought about buying. The guy's trying to sell it. Kind of a strange cabriolet top. And it's an early Chevy. I'm not exactly sure what, 28 or something like that, 29. You got the traditional 350 engine in it. And the thing that's really weird is look up here at the front. It's got this, it looks like louvers, but they're not. A cover here across the front. Remember, you know how Model A's are cut in here and they have a splash panel underneath the radiator? Well, Chevy had a different idea. And I don't know, some like it, some don't. To be honest with you, I didn't care for it that much. I thought I might remove it if I bought the car. But overall, pretty snazzy. Not as perfect as a lot of the cars here, but it does have potential. Okay, get a grip on your undies because you're liable to drop them when you see this Joe. Talk about like black glass. Absolutely gorgeous paint job. Rechrome front. Unassuming interior, pretty plain, but nice. Look at the bed. I love the dark they stand wood. Everybody goes with the light, but I kind of prefer the dark myself. And he's got the big tires and wheels, which are the sort of let's just say the popular way to do things nowadays. I don't really care for it. I like the 15 to 17 inch 5-spokes and not the 21, 22 inch, the big ones. It seems like an anachronism to me to put these real modern wheels on an old car. To me, there were plenty of really neat looking wheels from this period that you could have put on instead, but that's the way it goes. Got a gang of vultures on the wire back here watching us. Well, that's that. About the straightest, nicest early 60s Chevy truck you'll ever see. Now take a look at this gem. 63 or 64 Pontiac convertible. Nothing pretentious about it. He needs those Pontiac racing wheels. Of course, they're about $9,000 a piece, but easy for me to say. I'm not paying for them. but that's one of those cars you put on the top and go cruising, and I don't think you're ever going to see another one. Pretty slick. I haven't seen this car before. There's another gem with obviously underpowered. I doubt that you'd have much competition at the stoplight unless there's somebody in a Lamborghini with a chip on their shoulder. Very interesting, also for sale or trade. So be sure to make offers and I'll forward them to him. Something you don't see a lot of, chrome, just chrome reverse steel wheels. Kind of old school. Very nice interior. I like that wood dash. It's beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen one like that. Very nicely done.
Give me a call.
How about this? From the sublime to the ridiculous. This guy drives this thing everywhere. He's driven it to Canada. He's driven it probably to Alaska for all I know. It's got some goofy rack here in the back. Look at the top. Looks like something you put up over a picnic table. You know, it's not to my taste, but I've got to admire the fact the guy built it himself and didn't use a lot of high-dollar parts. He does have 3.2s, which is a nice touch that you don't see that much of. And he does drive it. And a lot of these cars, I noticed there's trailers parked outside of the car show. These guys trailer them around, they don't drive them. But this thing, for whatever flaws and weirdness it may have, gets driven all the time. And there's a lot to be said for that. Look at this. Speaking of a Model A pickup, in incredible condition.
So what did you get rid of?
Original engine, everything. Beautiful shape. Makes me feel guilty. Mine was never had the potential to be this nice. Little unsynchronized first gear. That's spectacular. Rare as hen's teeth. Here we're taking a look at another T-bucket. Seeing quite a few of them. I understand there's a resurgence of interest in them, which I think they'll find out after they've had one why they died out in the first place. Anyway, everything looks good, doesn't it? How about that bed? This I put up at the top of my what were they thinking list to put that bed on this car. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but you know, that's what makes the world go round. That's why they put knobs on TV sets, so you can change the channel. Anyway, pretty well done. Okay, we've got one here that's a work in progress. The guy was telling me he just got it running just the other day and decided to bring it. The engine's a 66 Impala 327 with the 3.2s, and you can tell it's got those camel hump heads that everybody gets all excited about. He's breaking in the engine. He wants to get 1,000 miles on it. Then he's going to disassemble the car, paint it, upholster it, and finish it. Look at that. Somebody fabricated a nice gas tank for him. You see all the spun aluminum ones, which are fine, but this is kind of neat. Real homemade looking. Got that transverse leaf spring rear axle. Pretty snazzy. And I have a feeling when it's done next year, we'll get a look at it. And he has a grill shell on and all. It's going to look even better. Well, in the something for everyone category, we've got the 57 Chevy two-door hardtop in black with fender skirts and real abstract art top. Original looking dash. Got the saddle blanket seat covers and some imaginative, oh, that's 57 Chevy hubcaps, I think. And engine-wise, pretty slick. He's using some vintage parts on the engine, and it says it's a 350, 300 horse. I have no reason to doubt that. Pretty unusual. Then here's that orange beast that we saw coming in, making all the noise. I told you I'd get a close look. It's like a Small block Chevy with about a 671 blower, 2 4 barrels, headers. Good Lord. Nice interior too, look at that. Pretty slick. Same steering wheel I have in one of my trucks that you haven't seen yet. Oh, some nice narrow rear tires. No matter how wide they are, they're probably not quite wide enough. Look at this thing. What a monster. Well, I think that takes the cake. Here's a front runner in the what the hell category. Looks like a Nomad 55 Chevy with, oh my God, a big block Chevy engine with a high rise. 396, 427. Good grief. Who would expect that, huh? What fun this must be at the stoplight when the snot nose and the Mustang GT pulls up next to you and starts giving you the evil eye. Very tasteful. I think that would qualify as a ratish looking rod if ever there was one. Wow. Here's today's leading contestant in the Holy Shit Awards. Notice the 427 on the fender.
No pictures, no pictures.
It appears to be an LS7 427 with some ungodly looking induction system. I shudder to think what happens when you step on the gas in this. Wow. Not only that, but it's a damn nice looking car too. Look at that, just straight as an arrow. 6-speed manual. Good Lord. Not too shabby. As I've got a 57 Chevy idling here. It's a blown small block engine, probably 350. Red your color, that's your car. Beautiful, straight as an arrow. And now for the what in God's name are you doing here category. The 4-door station wagon in cosmetically hideous condition. Will rally wheels. And it says 350, which is probably optimistic. I don't know, not really to my taste. And now a real sleeper. It's an old Valiant. Fairly straight, but very, very visually unexciting. But check this out. For you Mopar fans, I'm thinking the bulk of the money spent on this car was spent right there. Pretty slick. Well, here's a nice historical perspective. We go from a 1910 Ford Speedster to a Cobra, probably a replica, 427 Cobra. There you go, Ford's history in 5 seconds. Here's a nice looking T-bucket. I like the wheels. Body has the right stance. And nice basic engine. Overall a nice car. I'll tell you though, once you've ridden in one, you probably wouldn't want to ride again, depending on how sober the driver was. Check this out. It's another person that I'm friends with. Talk about nice. The old 5-window pickup with an absolutely immaculate engine. Just beautiful craftsmanship. Look at that power wall. It's not easy to do. Really slick. Look at that. Instead of chrome on the front, he went with kind of a wrinkled black. think this really looks nice. This is a great truck. Here's another neat old car. A friend of mine owns this, two-door sedan. Notice the shaved door handles and some really slick pinstriping. There's a local guy who's just a genius that does the pinstriping for us. I really like the interior he put in, very understated with a tweed. Nice dash. He drives this all over. It was just down in Austin, Texas recently at a big car show that they had down there. Let's take a look at the rear. Oh, an old-fashioned George Barris trick, the recessed antenna. Pretty slick. Don't look at that reflection. I'll have to tell Robbie to not polish his trunk so well. Well, not quite the winner in the how low can you go category, but he's getting there. Old El Camino with a tasteful X-rated mural and the Traditionals Car Club. Kind of an unremarkable interior, and to me, wheels and tires that are just way, way too small. Well, here's one that's not to everybody's taste, but you got to admit, the workmanship and money invested is incredible. Look at this thing. The visor. The old air conditioner. I remember these. You put water in here, it's an evaporative cooler. And the thing I always liked is when you would turn to the right, the water would kind of rise up and come in through the chute and pour all over the passenger, which I guess cooled them down. Once again, tires and wheels that are, to me, way, way too small. But beautiful workmanship. Look at the woodworking here on these wooden slats and that cutout with the Chevrolet emblem. Got another Traditionals Car Club member. Brought his car washing supplies with him. Let's get a look. Look at this paint. If you can, I don't know how well it'll come through on the video, but metal flake silver. Talk about cruiser skirts. Jeez, need a crane probably to take them off and put them on. And look back here. He's got his air compressors for his air system to raise and lower the rear end. Like I said, not to my taste, but pretty impressive as far as workmanship. Here's a deceptively simple and very impressive car in my book. Look at this thing. Look at the dash. Automatic. Beautiful leather work. And it is leather, I can tell you. In the sun, there's no doubt from the smell of it. Okay, the raked windshield and more engine than he has a right to. Good sized tires and wheels and very, very expensive and beautiful wheels. All in all, a magnificent car. Well, here's another entry in the what the hell category. Look at this thing. Looks like an old AA altered. Blown small block Chevy. Spoked front wheels. Probably, what, 33, 34 body. And a 3-window. It's hard to see. I'll go to the other side and we get a better view. And nice, small, narrow rear tires with a semblance of tread. This is one of those cars that when you're feeling real cocky out on Saturday night with your, oh, let's see, what are you going to be driving in? A 65 Mustang, and this pulls up next to you. That's when you start to develop humility. Okay, get the windows down. Look at the interior. Yep, I think this would be a definite lesson in humility. Here's another car that was built by a friend of mine who built that the black 40 Ford and the white 32 Roadster. This is 32 three-window coupe, and he specializes in doing things that are not, they're sort of understated, very tasteful, and just fabulous craftsmanship. That engine is really something to behold. Beautiful car. Looks like we've got a 31 Ford coupe. You can tell with 31 when the area here in the grille contrasts with the chrome Ford engine that's set way back. When you set back a Chevy engine like this, the distributor is way at the rear and impossible to get to or to remove. But the beauty of a Ford engine is the distributor's up at the front. Look at those headers, powder coated. Look at the craftsmanship. Having tried to build some of these things, I can tell you, this isn't easy. These guys are good.
Still has steel car.
Beautiful car.
Oh, that's all fiberglass stuff.
You're from New Mexico?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're in Chaparral.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely gorgeous car. Even has the flat headlight lenses like the originals. Probably with halogen bulbs behind them. And now in the what hath God wrought category, is it black 40 Willis, the blown big block Chevrolet. This is a fiberglass replica, but who cares? I think I'd give him my life savings just for one ride. Really something. Very subtle. If you're a 33 and 34 Ford fan, this one might work for you. 3-window coupe, gorgeous wheels, knockoffs, small block Chevy. Super nice. This car belongs to the host of the get-together today. It's probably the nicest T-bucket I've ever laid eyes on. I don't think I changed a thing about this. The wheels, tires, certainly not the engine. I've asked him, what's it like when, say, you out on the road and you don't see any cops around and you really stand on the accelerator, and he just looked at me with that look like guys that come back from war, that 100-yard look or whatever it is, like you don't want to know. And I believe it. Can you imagine? Probably 700 or 800 horsepower and about a 1,500-pound car. Ugh. Okay, here we got a 1925 Model T, what they would call a tall T pickup truck. And look at the starter crank is still in position. Got the old-fashioned headlights with the brass rims. Original grill shell. You start to get suspicious when they see the rack and pinion steering protruding out in the front. Start to think, well, maybe it's really not a Model T. Look at those running boards. Old Henry never dreamed up anything like that. Neat rear wheels. He's got the little lanterns. Got the brass fire extinguisher. And I'm going to guess that those are the rear turn signals. If they are, I got to hand it to him. And I'm sure the police will be handing it to him too, in the form of a ticket. Lantern tail lights. Very, very nicely done. Look at that bad diamond plate toolbox. Nice choice of tires and wheels. Overall, I don't think I've ever seen another car quite like this. I think it's really original and really neat. Here's an interesting idea. Somebody did the wood in the bed of the truck with a synthetic decking material. It's unusual, the gray and all, but it's separate planks of decking which should be impervious to sun, rain, you name it. I can't think of a better material. And there's his gas filter. Here's that little Track T Roadster idling. I guess he's warming it up before he hits the road. So nice. Great sound, huh? And I got Mike to open the hood here on the surf truck. And I told you, the engine's interesting. He modeled it after the engines in the like 1958, 9, 60, 61 Corvette. This is a 350, not a 283. But it's got the aluminum manifold with the 2.4s. And there goes our friend on the Track Roadster. I think you heard him go by. I just couldn't resist spending a little more time with this 409 engine in the 5-window coupe. Look at this craftsmanship and attention to detail. It's about 10 times harder than it looks. Really something. I'm just giving you a warning. If either of these guys ever try to borrow money from you, say no, okay? How about this for a nice old 55 Chevy 2-door post? Look at that, straight as an arrow with, I'm not a fan of fender skirts, but some people love them, and there they are. Nice looking trunk with the original old-fashioned license plates. All in all, a nice car. Got a little wave in the side there, but who doesn't? Overall, a nice presentable car. Okay, that 5-window coupe with the 409's getting ready to leave. I thought you might get a kick out of listening to this thing. I'll call that a baritone exhaust. What a beast. And I mean the car, not the dog. Here goes the little Model T truck. And to be honest, it sounds like a 4-cylinder. I don't think you could fit anything else under that tiny little hood. Looks like you might be making a bathroom break here. There goes the 32 Roadster. I asked the guy on the little Model T truck, he said it was built in Canada and it does have a Pinto 4-cylinder, which is about all the engine you could fit under that tiny hood. He just got it, and really neat looking.